Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and today's got fruit is gentleness. So, leaders, can you still be strong, independent, and assertive and still be gentle? Or can you manage or lead your dance ministry with a firm hand and still be gentle? A lot of times when we talk about the spirit of gentleness, people see it as weakness or people being a pushover, but that is not the case. So let's look into the definition of gentleness. Number one, calm, kind, and soft. Examples of that would be smiling, playing with children. Number two, not violent, severe, or strong. Examples of that would be exercise, the mode of the wind, the way it blows back and forth, or your gesture towards people. Third definition, not steep or sudden. And the picture that they paint with that is walking down the path. So, you're walking down a nice smooth path, and the atmosphere, the leaves, or wherever you are in the park or amusement park or the beach, it's a nice smooth path, and then all of a sudden you're walking and there's a drop or a hole. So they're saying, as far as this example, it's not steep or sudden. So the path that you're walking is nice and smooth. Okay, so those are the definitions of gentleness. The symbols, which I found pretty cool, was butterflies, soft music, calm ocean, smiles, a baby, little infant that you have in your hand that you're rocking back and forth, or the sound of a heartbeat, steady heartbeat. And those are signs or symbols of gentleness. Three types of gentleness that I want to talk about and line up with scripture. So number one, God leads with gentleness. How does he lead with gentleness? By his word, which is Psalms 119 and 105. Again, he leads by his word. And you can find that in Psalms chapter 119 and 105. Number two, a quiet voice. 1 Kings chapter 19, 11 through 13 will be the verses that you will be looking at. So again, a quiet voice. 1 Kings chapter 19, verses 11 through 13. So if you pay attention to these verses, understand that we do not serve a God who uses an abusive method or tone when he is speaking to us. So when he leads us, he does not have a dictatorship type of style. Okay, so it's very loving, it's very calm, it's very peaceful, if you remember the definitions that I gave. So again, God leads with gentleness. Dance exercise for your team. So leaders, you can partner up your dance team by two people. One will be blindfold, one will lead. The one who is leading, first time, you're going to give directions to lead the person with the blindfold around the room, but whispering. So they're going to whisper the direction on how they want to lead the person with the blindfold around the room. Then you're going to rotate. The second person, they are going to lead by yelling with a harsh voice and telling them what to do and everything else. So the second person who is leading is going to be yelling and be really harsh with them. Once that exercise is done, you're going to sit them down and have them discuss from their perception and their experience how they felt. So again, they're talking about their emotions as it relates to gentleness. Leaders, the question or reflective question for you is, do you lead your team with gentleness? Is it gentleness or is it harshness? Number two, types of gentleness, gentle speech. Go to Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21, and it talks about how the tongue carries life and death. Another Bible verse is Proverbs chapter 12, verse 18, and it talks about how words can either cut or heal the soul of a human being. So again, it's all about your speech. Second team exercise. Have your team leaders, I don't want you to take this personal. This is your team members' perception of how you talk to them. So you can't get mad, you can't get upset about their feelings and how they see you. Take this as a learning moment. Please don't turn this into something harsh and ruin the exercise. Again, it's a learning moment and a time for open discussion. So don't take this personal. What you want to do, you're going to ask your team members to describe how you talk to them in movement. So you want to pay attention if they're always doing this or doing something like this. So again, if they're doing this all the time, or that is a sign for something to do to work on it. Again, discuss it. If it's a learning moment, doesn't mean that you're a mean teacher or that you're bad or you don't need to lead. But again, listen to what they are saying and respond to the words and just try to change it up. So again, it is a learning moment. Do not take this opportunity to say, well, they did this and they did that. Stop. You're the adult. Or if you have an adult of people that you are teaching, again, take it as a learning moment. If you have children or teenagers, be very wise and listen to what they are saying. Okay, so again, this is gentle speech And you're going to look at the Bible verses which are in Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 18 verses 21, Proverbs chapter 12 verses 18. And again, the exercises that you're going to do, they're going to describe you in 3 movements. Look at the movements, have a talk, heart-to-heart talk about it, a discussion, and use it as a learning moment, leaders. Last one, type of gentleness is behavior. Go to Philippians chapter 4 verse 5, and it talks about treating others with gentleness. In this day and time, in this crazy world, we cannot afford to be harsh and combative towards other people. So we have to be mindful about our behavior, especially if we are reflecting the characteristics of Christ. Okay, so again, we have to be mindful of our behavior. Leaders, another reflective moment for you. Do you model gentleness towards your team? Are you gentle or are you not? And be honest. If you are, if it's all straight business, blah, 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 1, 2, 3, you don't have time for communication and talking, okay. But are you the type of leader who is gentle and you want to do an emotional check-in and see how they're doing and just to see if the lines of communication are okay? Are you approachable? Again, so it's about gentleness. When it comes to movement, just to give an example of gentleness versus aggressiveness. So ballet movements are very gentle. They're rigid, but they're gentle and they're soft. A lot of modern dance movements, nice and soft. Whereas to like break dancing or crumping, if you notice, crumping is very aggressive and striking movements. Break dancing, if you're in a competition, you know that they're always spinning and the movements are very harsh and aggressive. So those are 2 ways when you talk about gentleness, just the modes and the contrary movements. So one is gentle. Tai Chi is another good example. A lot of Tai Chi movements. Very gentle. Whereas crumping, you know, it's a lot of aggressiveness, and there's a whole history behind crumping and why the movements are so aggressive. That's your homework assignment. Look up crumping and get the history behind it, and then you'll see the mode or the history of the movement. So again, when we talk about gentleness, those are examples of just movement. A lot of times on the house scene when I'm dancing, and I love it because there's so many different styles that people have when they are dancing. Sometimes the movements are gentle. They use their hands or just do a lot of twisting. And other times, you know, the footwork when they're doing stuff and when they're combating or when they're challenging each other is more focused in the facial expressions, and they're hitting it, and they're striking. But again, it's all dealing with movement. So again, if you want to just play around with gentle movements, think of different styles. So gentle movements would be Tai Chi. And again, I'm not a Tai Chi expert. I just play around with it and I just mirror the movements. Another would be crumping, which is the opposite of gentleness. So it's a lot of aggressiveness that they do in the facial expressions and everything else. So that is an example of gentleness. Guys, thank you so much. If you have any questions, email me, awilliam4000@gmail.com. Follow me on tobpraisedance.com for blogs and stuff like that. And I'm also on YouTube. Guys, thank you all so much. And this was Gentleness. Have a great day. Bye.